Hi there. Okay, so you fancy having a go at being an audiobook narrator? Well, what skills do you need? In this video, I'll tell you what I believe are the 5 key skills that you must have to succeed. I'm Andy, the audiobook narrator, also known as Andy Stevenson, and I've been a full-time professional voiceover artist and voice actor for just over 4 years now. Not long, but enough to have released 26 audiobooks so far. In addition to those 5 key skills, stick around until the end of the video because as a bonus, I'll tell you the first action you should take before you do anything else if you want to take up audiobook narrating. Okay, so let's look at those 5 key skills. Key skill number 1. You need to be able to read. Now, I'm not being flippant here. Of course you need to be literate and be able to read. But you need to be able to do so in a way that demonstrates that you understand the meaning behind what you're reading, and therefore can put the correct emphasis and tone to particular words where necessary. Key skill number 2. You need to be able to perform. Particularly in sections of dialogue, you will need to imagine how the character is feeling and the nature of their emotions at that moment, so that you deliver the lines convincingly and realistically. In other words, you need to be very much a voice actor, not just a narrator. That is the case especially with fiction, where there may be a lot of different characters and dialogue and all sorts of situations. But even with a documentary work or a textbook, you'll need to know when to emphasize things and read with some life in your voice, not as if you're reading a shopping list or a telephone directory. Key skill number 3. You must have control over your voice. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, your voice needs to be consistent in pace and tone. Of course, there will be situations during a narration when a quicker pace might be needed because you're wanting to put over a sense of excitement in an action scene or a chase, for example. But your main delivery of the narration for the bulk of the manuscript should be generally consistent and smooth, with a length of pause between sentences and paragraphs fairly consistent with one another. You can ensure this in your editing process, that is when you edit the recording afterwards, something that I will cover in another video at another time. Key skill number 4. You should be competent when it comes to using your equipment, both hardware and software. These days, you don't need a lot of equipment to be able to deliver great quality audio from home, and I've produced a separate video about that to give you more detail. But you do need to know how to use your kit effectively, and in particular, how to use your recording and editing software. Finally, key skill number 5. You must be organised in the way you work. When you record an audiobook, it is quite likely to consist of a lot of chapters or sections. You'll need to make sure that you number each file correctly, save them in clearly named folders so that you don't mix up what we call a raw file, that is an unedited recording, with a mastered file, which is an edited and finished one. And of course, if the author or the person working on behalf of the author with whom you're dealing with want some changes, then you must make sure that the changed file you save replaces the previous edition before the changes were applied. Or if you want to keep them both, named or numbered differently so that you can easily distinguish between them. And this might sound obvious or even potentially complicated, but it's simply a matter of working to a system, and once you get into doing so, it comes as second nature, and you will be highly unlikely to make any mistakes. Now, time for that bonus I promised you. The one thing you should do before you embark on your new career as an audiobook narrator. And that is to get some honest feedback on your voice and delivery. Now, you might think you sound great, but it is important to know what others think, and not just your best friend or your partner. Record yourself reading a passage or two, preferably a bit that includes some dialogue between characters. Don't worry too much about the quality of the recording. For this purpose, you need to focus on your performance and your delivery, not your technical skills. So you could record something on your PC or your smartphone and just let people listen to it. Better still, you might even consider investing in some training and coaching from a seasoned voiceover professional. Now, before I began, I had a one-day session with Gary Terza, an experienced former TV presenter, and this was absolutely invaluable for me. You can check out his website, the details will appear below here. But there are many other professionals around who offer this service, so perhaps some relatively local to you. So search around. And whilst you're at it, actually there's a second thing you should do. Listen to other narrators. You don't need to listen to a complete audiobook to get a good idea. Each audiobook on any of the audiobook sales platforms such as Audible and Spotify will have a short sample, usually at most 5 minutes. And if you listen to a few of them, you'll get a sense of the range of different voices, styles of delivery, and be able to identify what you like and don't like. Okay, so that's all for now. But before you go, if you liked this video and found it helpful, please click the thumbs up symbol and do subscribe to my channel for more handy advice and information about audiobooks, audiobook narration, and all things audiobooks really. And if you have any questions you'd like to ask me, contact me through the comments facility below. Meanwhile, it's bye for now, and see you next time. Thanks for looking in.